creating identification with fans who saw their own teenage experiences reflected in her songs. And I'm not saying that she didn't have her own experiences as a teenager. She obviously did. Her teenage years were probably a bit scarring, honestly, looking back at all of this information, but probably extremely different to...
Like everybody's childhoods, and everyone's got their scars, haven't they, man? Yeah.
Majority of America, Canada, whoever, the world's teenagers. But does that make her a bad person? No, she's just trying to be relatable.
Hang on. What did you say there?
Awareness while obscuring the extraordinary privilege that had enabled her career, creating identification with fans who saw their own teenage experiences reflected in her songs. And I'm not saying that she didn't have her own experiences as a teenager. Right? She obviously did. Her teenage years were probably a bit scarring, honestly, looking back at all of this information, but probably extremely different to a majority of America, Canada, whoever, the world's teenagers. But does...
No, like, but it's irrelevant, I think, isn't it? Like, because the thing that they were relating to, it was to do with her relationships, you know, and or her feelings or her yearnings or her dreams as a teenage girl, you know. So I mean, even teenage boys or whatever, man, like just that adolescence thing, you know, of trying to find your place in the world and trying to, you know, longing, I suppose, to be understood or for, you know, your puberty hits, doesn't it? You know, and then you're interested in boys or girls or whatever, you know. So the thing that they are relating to, you know, if she was singing about, I don't know, like living in the projects or not having the food, the money to eat or something, you know, or like whatever it is, going to the thrift store, you know, or God knows what, then she would have a point, wouldn't she? But it's irrelevant, you know, I think. What do you think?
Does that make her a bad person? No, she's just trying to be relatable and make that dough. Like, people feel the need to...
I don't think she was trying to be relatable, you know?
It's like, no, she came from privilege. Like, you literally cannot argue that. Is that...
Maybe she was bad? A little bit.
No.
I don't know.
No. Is, like, lying lightly to your audience bad?
Bullshit. So. Bullshit, man. What is she talking about? This is the point where I need, like, a big bullshit me. I need a button or something to press. She's not fucking lying to her audience. Like, what's she talking about? It's irrelevant.
Is it bad that I said that? I don't know. But again, it's like, she was a kid and she's been taught this from day one from her parents that you need to, like, utilize money and strategy in order to be successful in life. And that means that you need to leave some morals behind. That's
fucking the way. What is she talking about, man? What is she talking about?
And I think that's when people come in, and especially on TikTok lately, where the people are like, "There's no ethical billionaires," and you know, we'll get into it later.
Like as well, like
charity, you can do all.
Well, they're utilizing, you know, business and money and stuff. It's what, you know, we should all be taught how all these things work, you know. Leaving morals behind. I ain't really sure what she's talking about there. My dad sending some angry emails or, you know, not paying that dude what he might have, you know.
These things, and I know she does all that stuff, but you have to realize that you cannot get to that level without sacrificing some truth. Let's just leave it at that. So the authenticity of this persona was carefully managed through strategic disclosure of personal details. And Swift's willingness to discuss her relationships and teenage experiences created an impression of transparency while actually revealing only carefully selected information designed to reinforce her relatability.
Fucking as well, like this is all nonsense as well, isn't it? You know, like what well, what are you supposed to do? Come out as an, because otherwise it's not specific. Like her songs are about certain things, man. So her image should fit that. It's that's what storytelling is. Whether you're watching a film or a play or reading a book, that's what storytelling is. So what, she's meant to come out with a fucking booklet in her album with like every detail of her entire life and her parents' life, and everything they've ever done, the good and the bad. Like, it's fucking nonsense.
Function as controlled vulnerability, sharing enough personal details to create intimacy while maintaining the privacy necessary for strategic image management. And the girl next door persona...
I don't even think it's that, either. Like, I think there needs to be even what am I trying to say? Some mystery is still necessary, isn't it? Transparency, is that what it is? It's what artists do, isn't it, man? They wear their hearts on the sleeve, man. But does that mean that, they're just an open book that you can read all of the sordid little details in? No.
Also provided strategic protection from any sort of criticism, because when you're like this broad, mass appealing person, you can't pick on very niche things or very big issues. Otherwise, that'll compromise your career. That could compromise your career in some way. So she needs to maintain this broad, mass appealing persona, which, you get to a certain degree. I mean, even digital creators, they just want to focus on what they're doing, whether you're a comedian, whether you're doing certain things. It's like, well, I don't focus on this problem or politics or this kind of thing, so I am not allowed to be held accountable for talking about those things. And that is up to you. That's up to you and whatever moral compass that you have. So whether your millions or billions of dollars matter more than speaking on issues, that's up to you. Does that make you a bad person? That's up to you. I don't know. But again, like,
yeah, this is muddy water as well, man. I think, like, I don't think nobody has nobody is obligated to speak out about things, And I think you can reserve the right to not have an opinion on things, because everything, especially the political and all that, everything is so complex and nuanced, isn't it? That to really understand what's going on, to have an informed opinion is difficult, isn't it? To put your neck on the line, I guess, and say, I believe this or I believe that. You can do it broadly, I suppose. The obvious things, you don't want people, we can all agree, war is bad, Is it probably, military industrial complex, and it's all to do with land and money and oil and all that? But I mean, I don't know, man, It's all disgusting, isn't it, The left and the I love that bit in Peaky Blinders. I mean, I know I don't. Have I got political opinions? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess some. I believe everyone should be able to earn a decent living and, put food on the table. I don't know. Free healthcare. I think that's a good one, right? Maybe that's the only political belief that I have, I guess. I think free healthcare is, as much as the NHS in our country gets, ridiculed sometimes, or it's not, working perfectly or whatever. But I think free healthcare for I don't know, a progressive society, that's pretty important, you know. But man, just things are so complex, you know. I just don't know, you know. And oh yeah, so the thing I was going to say is that thing from Peaky Blinders where Tommy says that what he's realized is that if you go far enough left, because it's the political spectrum is a circle, and if you go far enough left, eventually you're going to meet somebody who's gone far enough right, you know. And somebody else said it, but you know, the left and the right wing belong to the same bird and stuff like that, you know. I've got kind of lost in my thoughts then. What was she saying?
Like, in talking about government and Jeffrey Epstein and all these things, I do think it's important. And I do think, like, do I think I can make a huge difference? No, but I think it's important, you know? I think it's important to talk about things that I think are important. Yeah,
that's good, man. It is important to talk about things
where it's just like
that you think are important.
We look back at her history and it's like she clearly knows that she has a whole massive team around her that's like, you don't talk about this because the ticket sales won't be as good. You know, it's just like, you have to be able to see that. It just comes down to morality,
so what,
essentially.
I don't know. I don't think it does.
Question her vocal abilities or songwriting credits, her youth, and relatability.
So she should potentially, like, what she should speak out on. I mean, she's assuming a lot of things, isn't she? You know, she's assuming. I mean, we know Taylor's got some opinions on things, but she's assuming that she has strong opinions on whatever these things are. But man, you got to be sure, I guess. Why should she speak out about that stuff? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Offensive reactions from fans who interpreted criticism as attacks on their own experiences, I think. And this created a defensive infrastructure around Swift's career very early on that would prove...
So this, the Swiftie that attacks people that attack Taylor Swift, are those dudes real? Have I just been fortunate, you know, not to come across any? Because I know all you guys that are here on my Patreon like me enough to be here, and I'm real grateful for that, you know. But even over on YouTube, the majority of my reactions are Taylor Swift ones, you know, so tens of thousands of comments I must have had on all those videos. I think I don't know what I've done, 200, 300 Taylor Swift videos on YouTube or something. So yeah, like thousands and thousands of comments. And I'm not sure I've ever had one comment that has attacked me for, I guess I do like a lot of Taylor stuff though, you know, but everyone is always real respectful, you know. And just explain, you know, why they like it or something, you know, and respect my right to have an opinion or whatever. But I can't say that about all of the other artists that I've said anything negative about, you know, or not positive. There's always like a couple of comments, you know, that where people, you know, take it personally and stuff. But I've never experienced that with Swifties, you know, so. Maybe it's just the type of Swiftie that is interested in my opinion. Maybe they're just a different type. I don't know.
Invaluable as she navigated increasingly complex media scrutiny. But let's move on to 2009, because in 2009, there was the MTV VMAs incident.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
So September 13th, 2009, MTV Video Music Awards, where Kanye West interrupted Swift's acceptance speech for You Belong With Me.
Yeah, I mean, it's painful to watch classic, that, isn't it, man?
Top 10 pop culture moments. And it represents perhaps the most strategically valuable moment in Taylor Swift's career. Because while the incident appeared spontaneous, the aftermath revealed sophisticated crisis management that transformed a potentially damaging situation into a career-defining moment that elevated Swift's mainstream profile exponentially. So the immediate response demonstrated advanced media management, because Swift's reaction, appearing shocked and very gracious rather than angry, which, you know, kudos to her, generated widespread sympathy while positioning her as the victim of West's inappropriate behavior, which is, you know, there's no there's nothing crazy about that. That's just the case. But this whole incident created a narrative framework that cast Swift as the wronged innocent, generating protective instincts among viewers who might not have previously been familiar with her music. And more strategically, the incident proved Swift with a mainstream cultural moment that transcended music industry boundaries. And even President Obama's criticism of West's behavior elevated the incident into national conversation about respect, race, and celebrity behavior that kept Swift in the headlines for weeks. And so I'm not saying that this is Swift planned this and all that stuff. I don't think it was. It was just like a moment that happened that was just like for her career. And I think she handled it very well, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. She just knows how to make anything into money, basically. And again, nothing wrong with that. And the long-term impact proved
yeah, man, that's like...
Because the
she knows how to make anything into money. That's cynical as well, isn't it, man? Of course, you know, it's just turning a bad situation into a good one, man, and good for her, man. Yeah, I think that's pretty cynical, man.
Incident generated an enormous sympathy that insulated Swift from criticism during her most vulnerable career period, which was her transition from teenage country star to mainstream pop artist.
You got to play the cards you dealt.
It just created a narrative of victimization that would inform how media and fans interpret future controversies. And I'm not saying she wasn't a victim in this case. I do believe she was, and I do believe it was extremely inappropriate of him to do that. But it's just like all these little pieces falling into place for her career to skyrocket. Am I saying that her career couldn't have skyrocketed if this incident didn't happen? Absolutely not. That's a really dumb
I think it was a minor thing, man.
Template for crisis management that Swift's team would deploy repeatedly throughout her career, as we will see. So from the beginning of her career, Swift demonstrated unusual awareness of music industry.
I don't think it provided a template either. You know, the template for like crisis management obviously it was there before that. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like, oh, that happened and now we know what to do forever. Like, I mean, and I would like to see evidence to what she's saying. You know, what was the crisis management? You know, I mean. How did they propagate? Is that the word? The victim thing, you know? I mean, yeah, I would like to know.
Economics, particularly regarding publishing rights and songwriting credits, because her 2004 Sony ATV publishing deal made her the youngest songwriter in the company's history. But more importantly, it provided her with education about the financial structures underlying music careers that most artists don't understand until much, much later in their career, if at all. And this early education proved crucial as Swift's career developed.
That's important.
Unlike many young artists who focused primarily on recording and performing, Swift understood the songwriting generated the most reliable long-term income streams. So her insistence on writing or co-writing every track on her debut album wasn't just artistic preference, but strategic business positioning that would prove.
I think I don't. She's a fucking. That's nonsense as well, you know, or she's framed that like poorly. Yeah, of course, there's financial benefit to owning your songs and writing your own songs, but Jesus Christ, man, she's writing poetry in a class when she's like, you know, still got a baby teeth, like when she's meant to be paying attention, you know, I don't think like it's got anything to do with it, you know.
Extraordinarily valuable as her catalog gained value, and like kudos. And obviously that came from her parents too, and everything she learned as a kid. It's like, if you write all the songs, you make money on all the songs. Like that's just how it goes. And to learn that at a young age, and to be able to do that is...
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do, you know, with why she's writing her own songs, is it, you know? It's to do with a desire to do that and, for an artistic integrity, I guess, you know? I'm just thinking the reason that she wrote everything on Speak Now, right, was because people were saying you can't do it on your own. So that's like a kind of I'll show you thing, yeah, but the money is a bonus, of course, man, but... Yeah, it's nothing to do with that.
Is very impressive. So again, I'm just like, you know, hats off for her to be able to do that and to know that and have the wherewithal. And again, it comes from privilege and like being able.
And what this woman seems to be doing, I'm enjoying this maybe a bit more than I should. I don't know if it's the controversy or what. I'm kind of enjoying going, no, you're wrong. But she says something, which feels like she's being negative, or not being. Maybe she thinks she's being honest about things, but she's been a bit disingenuous, in my opinion, about a lot of things, and then she'll just cover it up with like "Oh no, I'm not saying, it's great that she's like that,"
To be taught that by your parents, who are
It's like slap with one hand and caress with the other.
Very attuned to
I've got
the
your
industry.
game. Thanks for watching. If you would like access to the full thing and loads of other extended content, Taylor Swift, One Direction, Miley Cyrus, videos of me playing my songs and others, link in description.